Hello everybody, welcome. My name's Tiffany, I'm the Tipsy Artist, and today we are going live to paint this adorable Nutcracker. So I'm going to guide you through it step by step. Let's go ahead and talk about all the supplies that we have here. So we have a lovely painting kit that comes with this on our website, tipsyartist.com. It gives you everything that you need. And so we do have an awesome paint kit. Mine's loved and used. And then of course it has a brush kit. We've got our mama, our little buddy, and then our little bit brush. And it comes with an apron and, let's see, apron, napkins, plates for mixing, and then also your canvas. And then you've got your traceable kit here that comes with it. So it's got a permanent marker, colored pencil, and some washi tape to secure that. All right, so this is the line art that comes with this one. And let's see here, and this is transfer paper. So I'm gonna talk to you about how this works. So the important thing about transfer paper when you do your trace is that you want the dull gray side to face up, and then you want the shiny side, the shiny darker side, to face down. And so you just center this in the middle of this, and normally you could just center this in here. This particular design though is a little bit unusual. Normally I just have a design that's in the middle, kind of floating in the center of the line art. But this one is one of those designs that is off to the side. So I had to go ahead and place it right next to the line edge of the canvas so that it lined up with that. And then I did have to go ahead and use a ruler to extend my diamond pattern up just a little bit farther up here. And then I had to go ahead and pull this off for a second. And then I had to go ahead and just pull down a few lines here at the base. But for the most part, your traceable gives you all the details that you need. And so the first layer, what it looks like is like a pencil design on there. So what I do after that to help make it a lot easier, turn that down just a little bit, is I have my permanent marker and I go ahead and do a hard line around all of these. So it really helps a lot. Beginners love the hard black line, so it stays in place while you're painting, just makes the process a lot easier. So it saves you a lot of time too. So easier for beginners, makes the process a lot more relaxing, and then also a little bit of a time saver there too. So we have all of this already done. I went ahead and worked ahead and did that before we started. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start to paint into it. And I have the model up here right behind me. It's a cutie. So this was really popular when we did this before. It's been a few years back when we did this, but thought I'd bring it back as a painting kit. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our mixing and our first color here. We're going to be starting with all the lightest colors first, and then we'll finish with the black at the very end. That way we don't disrupt any of the paint, any of the light colors with the black. So I'm gonna start with a really pretty gold color. And let's see, I've got a plate here nearby. And my first color that I want to use, I'm going to be using some cadmium yellow. And when you open up your paint kits, just so you know, there's normally a foil lining at the top that secures it, so you will have to peel that off. But I'm going to go ahead and squeeze out about a nickel-sized heaping dollop of the cadmium yellow. And hello everybody out there. Welcome, welcome. I see lots of people. And if you leave me a comment, I promise I will go back and read them all and answer any questions and say hi to everybody at the very end. I see the hearts. Hello, hello. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add another little dollop of some primary yellow, little pea-size amount there. There that is. Okay, and then I'm going to mix this up. Boy, that is a stiff brush. All right, hold on. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this. I cleaned off that brush last night and Boy, it hardened up. It must have had just a teeny amount of paint. I was really tired when I went to bed last night. All right, that's better. A little bit of water. All right, so isn't that wonderful? That's super bright and awesome. All right, so a lot of this will end up bleeding through here, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do a nice wash of this beautiful gold color. And again, this is our cadmium yellow, big dollop of cadmium yellow, small pea size amount of the primary yellow. And then what I can do here is I can just go ahead and do a nice wash of this into this whole section here of the jacket. And you're going to start to see right away how that permanent marker is a huge time saver since it bleeds through here. So that'll just stay in place. And then we'll come back over this later and help fill that in with more pattern detail just right over the top. I am going to go ahead and avoid the beard just because it's pretty simple to do. And here I probably won't. There we go. See how I just go ahead and get a nice wash right over the top. And I don't have to worry about the cut in on that. And so that just makes it a lot easier to go ahead and get all this color in here. And then these are really nice acrylic paints that come with this kit here. So sometimes I think it's helpful to add a little bit of water to it so that you can just help it become a little bit more fluid on top of the surface area. And thank you so much. Hello, hello. I can't read all your message, but I'll go back and answer the question here in a little bit. And I'm always good about leaving links and details, information to help people find everything afterwards too. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and place all this color in. Oh, what I was going to get back to and tell you was that when you are adding a little bit of water to the paint, you want to make sure and just turn it flat on the surface. Oh, and the kits are, I did see that question. They are $34.97 on sale right now. There's a lot inside the kit too. Comes with a lot. So it's a super good value because it's definitely the same cost as like actually coming to a paint party, but you actually get to keep all of your supplies, all the brushes and the paint set, permanent marker, washi tape. There's a lot in there. Transfer paper lasts a long time, can be used multiple times. Little sales plug there. All right, so we're getting that color in there. And let me see what time it is. 8:52. I'm early today. I noticed a lot of people are on right now, so I was like, ooh, let me check the time. Of course, when you watch this later, it may not be 8:52, but that's okay. All right, so I have that beautiful wash of color on there. And so we're gonna go ahead and keep that on. And then I've also got these little circles. Thank you so much. I'm gonna do those too. That's a little bit small for this brush, so I'm gonna go ahead and wash out my mama brush. And then I will dry it off. And then let's go into these little circles with my little buddy. So little buddy, this is little buddy in your kit, and this is a 1/4 inch flat. It's a golden Taklon brush, and I just love it. Love this little guy. Actually, he's a little bit big too. I was thinking those circles were a little bit bigger, but they're not. So I'm gonna come in with my little bit brush, and I need more paint. I'm out. So here we go again. It's time for a good review. So I have my cadmium yellow again. There we go, another little dollop of that. And then let's do another little amount of primary yellow. All right, we're gonna mix those two together. That's what we had before. All right, now I need to kind of twist this out so I get a nice fine point. So it loads up the brush, but nice fine point to do details with. And I'm gonna go ahead and place this into these little tiny circles here. So again, makes it easy. While we have this yellow mixed up, just go ahead and get all the yellow that I see. Now, if you want to make a thicker coat on top, even with a small brush, London! I love you. My daughter's on. London's my daughter, y'all. She's on. Everybody say hi, London. My sweet cherub. My sweet angel. My daughter is my t-shirt model too. Y'all should go look at her on my website. She looks like an angel. She has white blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes, and her smile lights up her room. I just have to brag. So, all right, so let's see here. Let's mix up, what next? Let's do a little bit of some turquoise. Let's do turquoise next. Yeah, thanks, London. Way to sell it. Check out the t-shirts, y'all. They're great for Christmas. All right, let's do some turquoise. All right, here. Let's do primary cyan blue. All right. And then let's do, oh, I want to add this too. I love this color in here. Let's do some Viridian. Yes, I love you, London. All right, and let's do some Viridian. That's really pretty in there too. And I love everybody else too. And then let's do some white. We have some titanium white. There it is. All right, so let's get a look at the mix here. We've got pretty big heaping amount of white and then two smaller amounts of the Viridian and the primary cyan blue. All right, let's see where we're at when I mix all that together. Let's see if I nailed it. I don't know. Sometimes I did it. Yay. That's what happens when you paint for, well, a long time. I don't want to tell y'all how long. A long time. Yeah. All right, so I've got my turquoise mixed up. I'm going to keep a little bit of titanium white off to the side just in case if I need to lighten that up a little bit. And then just have little pieces of turquoise in here, not much. In fact, I need to go back to my little bit brush just in case. Smaller brush to go ahead and paint with. I washed off my little buddy and then I dried it off. It's all ready to go off to the side. Now I'm going to take my little bit brush again and my little liner. Just twirl it into the paint. Get a nice fine point. And then I have a little section here of turquoise. Right up here at the top. Do a little circle in here. And if you have any difficulty getting a nice fluid, sharp line around the edge, I do recommend adding a little bit of water to it. And again, just rest your canvas on a flat surface whenever you experiment with water, and that will prevent you from having any water runs on your canvas. So that's important too. And we're going to extend this little turquoise line just right up next to the edge. Let's make a little diagonal line down and then come back up for that little loop. And then we have just a little bit more of the turquoise off here to the side, little detail over here. And then we have little turquoise buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and fill those in. And then here's another one. And then another one. Just kind of spin it round and round and round. It's almost like making a little Cheerio at first and filling that in. I don't even remember the last time I've had a Cheerio. We're on keto, so I'm like, oh, Cheetos. I mean, Cheetos. Oh, well, I dream about those too. Cheerios. Oh, Cheerios and Cheetos, I remember you in my dreams. Carbs. Oh, yeah. It's funny that Cheetos slipped out. Those sound good too. All right. So we have our little bit of our turquoise detail here. And then let's do some light green. While I continue to dream about carbs with y'all. I'm about to go off keto though for Thanksgiving, so it's gonna happen for sure. And I probably won't cheat with a Cheerio or a Cheeto. What do we got? Let's see, I love this for Christmas to go with my nutcrackers. Yay! Yes, we love nutcrackers, they're so fun. All right, so we're gonna do a light green now. So I'm going to be using, let's mix up a little bit of our cadmium green. And you could add just white to this, but with our paint kit, we also have some bright yellow green. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some of this. Still using our little bit brush. And so I'm gonna mix those two together. And then my brush is nice and full, so I need to kind of twist it out. So it keeps it loaded with paint, but it twists it into a nice fine point. And then we'll go ahead and just fill in a little bit of green here. And you're welcome to be creative and change up the color scheme on this if you want. Always be creative. People ask me that a lot in class. Can I change it? And you certainly can. I love it when people kind of go off and do their own thing. All right, so we have that beautiful green there, and if you need to work on getting it to smooth out a little bit, then you just want to hold the brush more over to the flat side. That helps fill that in. All right, so we're good on that. And then next we have, see, looks like we got a lot of red. And then let's go ahead and work in some of our red. All right, so let's get another plate. Put these off to the side here. And then we have a cadmium red in your paint kit. So here's cadmium red. And see, this is that foil top that I was telling you about. I actually haven't taken this one off yet. So it just lifts right up most of the time. They're all pretty easy to get off, but it's funny, I struggled with one yesterday and I thought, oh my goodness, this never happened. All right, so I'm gonna do a big amount of that because we're going to be using a lot of red. And then to help really extend this, I'm going to cool off this color a little bit with some primary magenta. So here's our primary magenta. This actually changes it to more of like a cool red. So I'm going to do another big dollop of this. I'm going to give you a visual here. See how we have about equal parts there? And then I'm going to go back to my Mama brush. This is a 1/2 inch flat. Now let's mix all this together. That's a lot, but we're going to use it. And you can see how it's still red, but that primary magenta really did help cool off that cadmium. The cadmium red in a pure state is very, very warm. So this helps cool off that color. And then I think initially here, I'm going to go ahead and paint into a little candy cane stripe. And Mama's just the right size in here, so that's nice. And here's what's happening. Sometimes your brush will get so filled with paint and you want a thinner line edge to do details. So it's kind of full, so I need to apply a little bit more firm pressure, and then I'll look at the edge and see how it's all thin and flat again. So that sometimes has to be done. And if you can't quite get it completely flattened out, sometimes it is required to rinse out and then reload. Now I want to get down to this little area right in here. All right, so we're good there. And what do I got up there? I got like a gold color. Oh, that's a white. Okay. All right, a lot of red detail happening on this little area here too, but I'm going to go into the background a little bit now. And I want to, it's actually a little bit of a lighter, I'm going to go back in with a little bit more cadmium now for the background. So we have our cadmium red, and I'm actually going to go back to more warmth now. See, now you can, I'm going to show you the difference. See how that cadmium red is quite a bit warmer. So I'm actually going to, I won't worry about cleaning off my brush. It's a real subtle shift, but I'm going to go back into that warmer cadmium red. And let's go ahead and start to fill into all this background here. Now initially I'm just trying to get a nice amount of paint on the surface, but for my final coat, I want to crisscross the texture out. So it's like making little tiny X's all over. And then I'll go into a little bit of that I mixed earlier. Just pulling in more of that warm red cadmium. Let's just push that all in. And you see how it looks like just little X's? So this will really help later as it dries. It still reflects a lot of light after it dries, and if you don't crisscross this out with texture, you're going to notice a lot of just uneven patterns or brush strokes coming through, maybe sometimes vertically or horizontally, and it's typically not very attractive because it's really difficult to keep it all very uniform in one direction, or sometimes it just reads as being very translucent. So if you just crisscross it out, again, just make it look like little tiny X's. It will reflect the light very nicely and create a really nice texture over the top. All right, little crisscrosses. Bringing in some of those deeper reds now. Pulling back into that cadmium there, just cadmium red. Now when you do your cutting work, you will have to go ahead and come all the way around so much. So it says, you're such an awesome, relaxing painter. Thank you for sharing your talent and knowledge with us. Be infinitely blessed. Thank you. That is so sweet. Don't make me cry. Dang it. That was really awesome. That's my goal. Yep. She made me teary. That was so sweet though. Oh my gosh. I was trying to stop it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry. And it made me cry. And the more I'm trying to think about not crying, the more I'm crying. Silly ball bag. Yeah. So we need all the opportunities that we can to just relax and think about blessings and have a great life and be prosperous and work things out. So I think this helps a lot. Yay! Okay, so more crisscrossing here. Still going. So this background part, I think, is very relaxing. Hi, Bhavna from the UK. I haven't seen you in a while. It's not your fault. It's because I haven't been, well, this week I've been on like crazy. And you're going to see me, everybody's going to see me all day. Isn't that wonderful? I have so many paintings to paint tonight, or today, a bunch. I think I have 8 more to go today. So I am making a long journey to see my dad. And I appreciate your prayers for him. So he is, he's really having quite the challenge right now. He's stage 4 cancer and he's going through chemo. And he's been battling this for a long time, but we're gonna go see him for Thanksgiving. So I am trying to get as many paintings in as possible before I see him. Get all this done. There's always work to be done, but I'm trying to get to a place where I'm all caught up. We got a little bit behind on our filming schedule with the ice storm. So, you know. But if y'all would pray for my dad, I sure appreciate it. And I will pray for y'all. And if y'all have prayer requests, please leave those in the comments too. So I'm a firm believer in prayer, and I believe too that the more you pray for others, the more that your prayers will get answered too. All right, little tiny X's over and over again. Don't forget that pattern. Not only is it helpful for reflecting light, but it just really is very relaxing to do. Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I ran out of cadmium, so I'm going to do a little bit more of that because I'm really liking the wonderful mix of the cadmium red with all this. So let me give you a visual on the plate. See, there's lots of cadmium here, and I kind of work back and forth there between the two. All right, so look at this little line edge. With this, I hold the brush more like a pencil. And then when I work back into the outer side, then I change how I hold the brush and just kind of feather it out and then crisscross it out. Just crisscross, crisscross. Crisscross applesauce. Seems like I remember that from teaching. Well, I'm still teaching, but I used to teach kindergarten a long time ago. People say, why do you name your brushes Mama and Little Buddy, Little Bit? It's just that old kindergarten teacher coming out of me. All right, we're gonna come around this little face here. I still have the red in through here too. It's getting to be a little bit tight though. So in order to help, you know what I need to make sure I've got little peekaboo white that's coming through on the edge, and make sure I get good coverage on that. I see a whole lot more when I get done filming. I work from the side of my painting a lot, so sometimes I lose the vision, and then when I actually face my painting at the very end, I go, oh wow, and I see all kinds of things that I maybe missed. All right, so we have our lovely texture happening. I have to work into the smaller area, so I need to go ahead and rinse this out. This is my Mama brush. Rinse it out. Round and round and round in the water, firm pressure, and then when I release it, then I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it off here. All right, now we have our little buddy brush. And I'm gonna go back into the same two colors. But here's what's awesome. See how thin that is? I make sure I load it up by just firm pressure, back and forth. But then that still allows me to get into these smaller areas. So for a little bit here, I'm going to have to just use the line edge so that I can get into the tiny areas. And then I will come back in and do the feathering out in more of that little tiny crisscross motion. But that'll be my final step. All right, so we're just gonna get into this tiny little area here using the thin line edge of the brush. Now I turn it over to the side because that's a little bit of a bigger area and I gotta get in there. Get good coverage over all of it. All right, now let's do a little bit of that crisscross, crisscross, feather it out. Little tiny baby crisscrosses. A little challenging, but we got it. All right, I'm gonna try to peek from here, see that I've got everything covered. Yay, okay, I like that. All right, so that's awesome. Now, let me go ahead and put little buddy back into the water, rinse it out. We're gonna dry this off. Okay, and then my little bit, I lost it. Where did it go? It disappeared. Oh, there it is. Okay. So now we have some detail work with our red. So I'm going to be using my little bit brush again. Make sure y'all can see. Can y'all see? Yeah, okay. All right, so a little twist here into the paint. So again, when you twist in, it fills the belly of the brush, but it also rotates it into a nice fine point. Good morning. Well, thank you, Rhonda. Good morning to you too, beautiful lady, as well. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do these little twists and these little swirls. Of course, we have the line art done for you, bleeds through, you can just follow it. But if you need to tell your brain a little message to get that little action, to me, it's like making the number 6. So that's a very familiar command to your brain that you're used to. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow this around here. And I am using the cooler red for this that we mixed up. So again, that mix, just as a reminder, is your cadmium red and your primary magenta. So we'll just follow this, all those little swirls. So, and that's why we love the permanent marker, because it does not get lost and it stays there in place, and we can just continue following along throughout the process. And let's do this side. And then this one over here, we'll fill that one in. Just doing all that line work first and those little curly cues. Details of the jacket. Little circular pattern, and just holding that brush just like you'd hold a pencil. And you can definitely make this a little bit thicker than the actual line that we made. You can see I'm kind of overdoing it just a little bit, but that's okay. Basically just adding a little bit more thickness to it. And then here, this one. And it's amazing how it just keeps coming along, just all these little layers. Well, I'm glad I mixed up a lot of red. We have needed it for sure. Okay, now I need to actually mix up just a tiny amount of pink. So I've got my red nearby, and then I just want to dip into a little bit of some titanium white. So I've got that here. Titanium white, we'll just do a little bit of that. We have those little cute cheeks to do. I want it to be really light though. So I took that red that was just already on my brush, and I'm mixing it into this little pea-sized amount of the white. I'm getting a really light pink. And then we'll just spin this round and round. And the black outline can certainly remain on there, that's okay. Just looks like a nice outline at this point. Okay, so almost getting to that point where we have lots of black to do, but I also have swirls happening. Yay! Thanks for the love. All right, so I'm going to take my little bit brush again, and I'm going to make little swirls that happen in the background. So this is like a tone-on-tone pattern that happens. So I'm definitely going to be coming into the darker red here, twisting in, and let's see how much darker it is. Yeah, you definitely see it. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add just, you have to be very careful with this, but I am going to come in with, actually let's do a little, I was going to use black, but I'm gonna try something new this time. I'm gonna do just a little hint of violet with it. That way it'll darken it up. So here's our violet. So I want just a subtle, little bit of a subtle darkness, a little bit more of a darkness happening. So I'm gonna just mix these in here, little section. Okay. so I'm going to continue mixing it with my darker red, but then just kind of barely push into a little bit of that violet as I go. And then I'll just do little swirls. And again, the swirl kind of feels like making the number 6. And these are just kind of randomly placed all throughout here. And in the center, you can just do like a swirl that starts in the center and then just keep going around it one more rotation and then lift off with a light hand. And sometimes you can change the direction of it too. So for example, this one went up and then this one went down. And I can have quite a bit on the brush too. It kind of gives a nice little bit of texture and layer on top. So again, this is very subtle but very pretty. And let's do a few more little just circle swirls in the middle. One more here. All right, really nice. Now I'm also going to do like a little dot technique here. Thank you so much, Carolyn. And again, I want to tell everybody, if you commented and I have not responded live, it's because I can't see everything, but I always get back to everybody and I go back and I read them when we're done and make sure and leave lots of notes and written comments, answer any questions. All right, so I'm going to be using the end of the brush now to do a really fun technique. So this is, again, a little subtle design, but I'm gonna dip into that red and then we'll just make little polka dots here and there. Kind of sprinkle those around. And this is a real subtle part of the design, and the darker it is, the more contrasting it is over the surface area. So you can certainly deepen this a little bit, darken it if you want a little bit more of a noticeable polka dot over the surface area. Okie dokie. Man, we're almost getting to the point of just the black detail work now. Okay. So I think I have black already out. Look at, I've got all these, I'm surrounded by paint plates. Let's see what I got. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we have some Mars Black in your paint kit here. And again, if you have to add water to it to help make it more fluid over the surface, certainly can. Just make sure and rest it flat so that you don't get any water runs, because it will look a lot like a mascara run at this point. You do have to be careful of that, and you definitely have some white surface area. You need a lot of pattern and white that you have to really protect, so you don't want water runs. I'm going to go ahead and press into this black paint, making sure my line edge is very thin still so that I can do this precision work here. And then start to paint into the little diamond pattern. So again, watch your edge, make sure it stays thin. That can really help you do the line work. And then when you fill in, then you want to change how you hold the brush and turn that handle more over to the side to fill into the center. Switch to that line edge. And then of course you can also kind of crisscross it out here too with the flat side. That'll give you really good coverage over the surface there. So again, flat line, hold it like a pencil, line edge, and then turn it more over to the side when filling into the diamond pattern. And it's really helpful to get right next to this straight line here and just follow it all the way down. And of course our little hat here, if you, like I'm going to go down all the way because I know that my little brim here of my hat will be filled in black. Let's go ahead and fill that in. So as I load up, I continue with firm pressure so that my end doesn't get too thick with the paint. So the bristles can get all kind of fat with paint and they'll start to spread on you, and that makes it very challenging to have your precise lines that you want to work in. So again, when you load up, just firm pressure on your plate here like that, and then that helps keep that thin on the edge. Looks like we've got 2 more diamonds to do, this one and 1 more. Make sure that that little line is very precise. I'm going to take my little buddy, just do a little dash here. And a tiny amount of water usually helps fill in to make something very precise as well. I'm working in a vertical state though, so I have to be very careful about adding water to the mix. When you're at home, you can certainly do more of that. Again, just keep it flat on your table. It's a lot easier to work with that way. Just a little bit more. And then here we go with our other diamond. I'm so glad we have a line art traceable for this if you're just now joining us. And I'm so thankful. We did have templates for this a long time ago, and there's so much detail in the Nutcracker, it's very hard to get all the details with the templates. And so it's actually a very hard template to use. But with the line art now and the traceable, it's so easy because you just get to follow every single line that you see here. So we love it. It's a lot easier for beginners. I'm going to extend this over to the edge. By the way, your canvas that comes with the kit does have depth to it in a wooden frame. So I use these flat boards just because I do so much teaching. I get into major storage issues too. I run out of room for all my paintings. Okay, so now we have the little beard and the mustache, and I need to switch gears to a smaller brush. So I need to go ahead and clean off my mama here. There's my sweet puppy dog coming in to see me. Miss Ira. Yeah, my mama. Now I need little buddy. And I will also need a little bit too for the little curls, for sure. But I'm gonna try to use my little buddy brush. I'm gonna make sure it's just moist, no excess water. And in the belly of the brush there, I'm gonna go back into the black. So I'll get as much of this larger area with the black done as possible. Until I get to the little curly hues, and then I will definitely have to switch over to my little bit brush. So I just hold it just like a pencil and use that thin line edge to work into this area. That's the easiest way for the first coat here, and then I will feather it out at the end to help eliminate some of those brush strokes. However, if you do have brush strokes that just go in this direction, it almost looks textural like the mustache. So if you do have that, it actually kind of works, so it's not a big deal necessarily to feather those out. That's the one time when some of those brush strokes can work for you, but I am going to go ahead and feather mine out here. And work back into this little section here. And now into our little beard, our cute little beard. And I just leave the teeth just like they are with that permanent marker, providing all the detail, because that's just so much easier on the hand in terms of having that precision there. Now when we get to this little tiny curl, that's definitely a little bit move. So we'll get our little bit brush. So let's grab a little bit, do a little twist here into the paint, and let's work into that little curl there. All right, keep a little bit. There's going to be a few more places we're going to need to outline with our little bit. While we have little buddy, I want to go ahead and finish up with all of the details for outlining for straight edges. So I watch my line edge there, make sure it's nice and thin. And a little bit of a curve here, so I won't be able to do all of it. But this is a long line, so we'll do that. And let's see. And that long line that I'm doing there too, that can also be done with your permanent marker and even just a ruler too. There's my honey bear coming into the space. And then my dog's tail wagging when my honey bear comes into the room. Hi, baby. All right, and let's get a little bit again. And get a little bit of our black worked up again. So we're gonna do a little twist into that black paint. And then come around the shape here. And then a little bit more of our outline work that needs to happen now at this point. So like our little buttons, we'll do a little black line around those. Kind of helps make those pop right back out to the front. It's looking good. And this is definitely an area where you can come back in with your permanent marker and firm all this up at the end. Beginners really enjoy that process. Makes it a little bit easier on them. The one thing I'll tell you though is that you want to make sure your paint is completely dry before you do any permanent marker work, because wet paint will just immediately kill a permanent marker. It just dries it right up. It's really interesting how that works. But it does, so just make sure all your paint is completely dry, and then it works just fine. And it makes it so much easier. I'm gonna go ahead and do these little tiny lines here. Just reinforcing all those little details. And in my case here, I let the white of my canvas be my white for like especially the face. It's so much easier. And then the cell section here, but you can always come back in and add more of a painterly white. I would say that on this area here, if you do want the painterly white, I would almost do that at the very beginning. Let it sit up and dry, and then you can come back over it with darker color later. So for the sake of time, I just let mine be the white of my canvas. Since it is painted and primed white, you can just let it be just what it is. All right, I think, okay, I have little red polka dots that I can still do. And maybe a few little gold highlights. Okay, so let's see. We want a big polka dot, so we're going to be using the mama brush here. And I'll be pushing into just some of this red. See that right there on the end? And then you can press straight forward. This is just such a nice, easy way to do polka dots. And you can just place these all over. And if you don't quite like it the first time, it's real easy to go back and just touch it one more time. And it usually goes into a nice, beautiful polka dot, at least on the second time. Sometimes it doesn't always take the first time, but it's real easy to come back in and reinforce. So, and this fills the space easily. Beginners love this technique. Because it always works out. So we'll sprinkle a lot of these around. Yay, it's looking good. See how easy this is? Next thing you know, you'll be walking around your house, putting polka dots on everything. It could happen. It does happen. Do one more little layer here. All right, so let's see, that is that, and then let's go back to, got a few little accents that I can do now. So I've got my little bit brush and some, let's do some white paint. I'd add just a little bit of water to mine, make it a bit more fluid, and I'll spin it out. And then I'll firm up this little line here. Little sketch. Little accent. Real tiny little line there. Trying to see what else I have kind of going on up there. Just a few little sketches, little highlights. All right, and I think we can be done. Now I was going to tell you about flash points with the eyes too. So I went ahead and just did mine initially with the permanent marker with our traceable, but if you filled all that in with black and you did it with paint, you could always come back in and do a little dot for your flash point later. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. Take your smallest brush and just go right into the white paint like that, and then just hit right over the top with a little flash point of light. So that works out really well there too. And then of course we just sign our masterpiece whenever we are done. Do a few more accents on these little buttons here. Just saw those and I went, yeah, I like that. Okay. So yes, I think we are done with our super cute little nutcracker here. So again, this is available on our website, tipsyartist.com, and I'll definitely provide the link here on the video. It stays up forever, so you can always come back anytime and do this with me, and we provide everything that you need. But y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon, because I'm doing like 8 paintings today. So anyway, y'all have a great day.